Hi guys, I'm Ray from Bake with Ray. Welcome to the Ramadan series.
I'll be uploading recipes for Ramadan for the next 30 days, but don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell icon so you can get a notification for every time that I post a recipe.
Today we're going to be learning how to make these absolutely beautiful Victoria sponge cupcakes. Start off with a large mixing bowl. You want to weigh in your margarine and your sugar. I'm using my stand mixer bowl because I'm going to be using my stand mixer today, featuring my pink KitchenAid, and I use the paddle attachment. You can just use a regular hand whisk and a large mixing bowl. Start off on a low speed until the sugar and margarine is combined, and then you want to increase the speed and mix it for about 2 minutes on a medium to high speed until it starts to get pale and fluffy. You want to stop in between and scrape down the sides of the bowl just to make sure that everything is incorporated. Mixers have a habit of like leaving things on the side, so it's important to scrape down the sides in between. After scraping down the sides, mix again for another 2 minutes until it's nice and light and fluffy. Scrape down the sides again and add in 3 eggs. You can put them all in one go, it's absolutely fine. Then you want to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract right in the top right corner. You can see me adding it in. Sorry, I don't know why I did it out of the screen. Then you want to mix that again until it's nice and combined. So start off on a low speed until it's combined, and then increase the speed once again and mix it really well until it incorporates really well. So it's important that these ingredients are all at room temperature so your batter doesn't curdle. In a separate bowl, you want to weigh out your self-raising flour and your baking powder. Give that a little bit of a mix, and also weigh out your milk as well. If your milk was straight from the fridge, then you need to probably warm it up slightly before you add it in. Add in your flour mixture and then put it on a low speed and simply just fold in the flour. Now I left this at real time so you can just judge how long you want to mix the flour in, because you really want to be careful of how long you beat it once you've added the flour in. You want to make sure you only mix it until it's just combined, and then add in your milk, and then just allow the milk to just combine in there, and that is it. So altogether, from as soon as you add the flour in, it was about 30 seconds of mixing in total. And then I like to do the last few folds by hand just to make sure that everything that is stuck on the sides is also incorporated into the batter. Get yourself a muffin tray and also some muffin liners. I prefer to use these instead of cupcake cases because they're bigger and we want bigger liners to be able to hold all the batter. And then use an ice cream scoop for an even amount of batter into each one. It just makes it easier to make it even. Then you want to bake in a preheated oven, and it's important here to get the temperature of the oven correct because we want these cupcakes to rise above the case slightly but without spilling over. If you have an option to turn your fan off in your fan assisted oven, then turn it off. Bake them about 17 minutes. When they're ready, put them on a cooling rack to cool for about 5 minutes, and then remove them from the tray and then put them on the rack by themselves until they're completely cool. So whilst they're cooling, you want to prepare your cream. So a lot of people find it difficult to get cream right, so I want to give you a few tips here. Use your cream cold straight from the fridge, put it into a mixing bowl, add your icing sugar and then your vanilla. Now I like to use a hand whisk for a small amount of cream rather than my stand mixer, simply because it's a lot easier to over mix it in the stand mixer, and with the hand mixer you can kind of feel when the cream is done. So I like to use a hand mixer when I'm doing a small amount. So just stay on the lowest setting, the lowest speed, and just keep whisking and whisking your cream until you get to a kind of a texture where it starts getting thicker. So you'll feel some kind of resistance in your cream after a few minutes, and it'll start to look like this. This is where you need to watch it really carefully because it very quickly whips up into a stiff peak after this. So you really want to watch it very carefully, and literally I left it here at real time just so you can see how quickly it comes together. That you just keep whipping it until it starts to hold its shape. Once the cream begins to hold its shape, you can feel that it's holding its shape, that is where you need to stop. Don't be tempted to go any further than this, because if you over whip your cream, then it'll just basically split and turn into butter. So here you can see it's holding its shape, but you can still see there's some softness to it. It's not hard, okay? So that is what you want your cream to look like. This is the perfect consistency for when you're piping it, because it will harden and whip up slightly more when you fill it into a piping bag. As it's a Victoria sponge, we're going to use some jam, so put that in a bowl and then beat it really well just so that it's looser and it's a lot easier to spread. Then you want to get your cupcake and get a plate to put your lid in. Essentially, get yourself a sharp serrated knife. It's much easier to use a serrated knife, and go as close to the top of the case as possible, rotating your cupcake as you use a sawing motion to cut it open. Okay, it can be a bit difficult, and if your cupcake hasn't risen as much, don't worry, you don't have to do this part. It's just optional. It just looks nicer this way, so you can just go ahead and decorate the top of it as usual if you want to. So spread out about a teaspoon of your jam and put the cream into a piping bag with a star tip and pipe a layer of cream onto the jam, and then close the lid, and there you have your mini Victoria sponge. And you can leave it like this because it looks cute as it is, or you can just dust the top with icing sugar, but I went a little bit of a step further and used the remaining cream to pipe a swirl on top of each cupcake, just like so. And then I got some strawberry halves and put a half of a strawberry onto each cupcake. I wanted to leave the stem on initially because it looks prettier, but the stems were a bit ugly, so I cut them off. Dust your cupcakes with some icing sugar. It just makes it just look that much cuter, I think. And there you have it, guys, your mini Victoria sponge cupcakes. These just taste so good. The combination of cream and jam in, like, you know, a single serving, and the strawberry is an extra treat on top. They're super soft and super delicious cupcakes, and they're very, very easy to make. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Enjoy!